Hello, guys. This is Random Realm. I am Kafka, and we are back again in a brand new week with a brand new episode. Today, I grieve to say that the other podcaster of this podcast is not with us today. Like, for now, she's there, of course. Today, this is just going to be you and me, and you as in the audience, and me as in Kafka. And we are going to talk about very classic thing, a strange habit that I have, which I'm going to reveal in the coming minutes. But for now, since we are going to approach the New Year's and we are already like sprinting towards the end of the year, I think it is the apt time to start thinking about it and raising questions on how we are doing currently in life, right? And if you do not want to do that, you can, of course, skip this part and you can get on with when I start talking about books and quotes. But for now, I have a very interesting question for you. For example, I'll just give an example. This is like November already. November is going to end, and we are entering December. So, do you not think like right now the things that you want to do, like for example, you might want to start reading more, or you might want to start cycling, might want to start running, etc., etc. Do you, when it comes to the early December and late November part, you start skipping and procrastinating about things that you need to do or you want to do in life because it is the end of the year. And of course, like in a few months, rather, in just a month, we're entering a new year, 2024. And a lot of us are going to think about it as a fresh start. And I personally skip and procrastinate a lot on things that I want to do, like right now, right? For example, I want to go to the gym and I know that I can actually start working out right now, but I will procrastinate because I know that we're approaching the new year, so I can start afresh, totally anew from 2024. So in this time frame, I lose that 1 month of productivity because I'm super lazy and you know just stubborn enough to realize that I can actually use this time. Like 1 month is a lot, but in my head, I'm just thinking about um, yeah, I can obviously fresh start again. I need to start now and it's new year, then I have to start again on like day one. Like entering into a new year is like resetting your mindset at a certain point. So I have to do that again, I have to adapt to that. So why not I just start at the new year's again? So that with that thinking, I know I will lose a month of my life just without doing something, which is crazy. Like I'm not sure like what I'm trying to achieve here with this conversation, but I just want to know like if there are other people who think the same way, because the end of anything actually makes it melancholic if you think about it. The end of a book makes you sad. It's not the actual story or the ending that makes you sad. Of course, it plays a role in that, but it is like how gripping the book was for a whole like 400, 500 pages. And when you're in those last 50, 60 pages, you feel that sadness, you feel that melancholy creeping into you because it is going to end. The story, however devastating you can take it in, but the fact that the book ended, like there is no more to it, it is kind of strange and sad. So I think that is what happened with the years as well, because towards the end we get a lot more melancholic. Everybody I know, like I literally just talked to a person and she was like, "Yeah, like winters make melancholic quite a lot, and I am not sad in life. I'm happy in life right now. I'm content with what I have, but still somehow feel sad about it." I think that comes exactly from the fact that the year is ending. Like we celebrate New Year not because, like, I could be wrong here. Like a lot of people celebrate because they had a very good year, but people having like bad time towards the end of the year, they celebrate and wait for the new year, and they celebrate it somehow in a fashion that, yeah, like the new year is here and the past year is behind us, and we're going to leave that all negativity behind us, and we're going to have a fresh start. So a lot of us think of new year as a positive sign, positive energy, and we neglect the importance of ending a year on good terms with people and things like that. So I think this is the question, or this is the thought that I wanted to put into the audience, you guys. to think about it a little more, like how the end of something is sad, yes, but it can also be meaningful. And we should stop neglecting the end of something. Like, yeah, we should not underestimate the time that we have towards the end of something. It is still enough. I'm not sure like whether this all meant a lot. Like it really did make sense in my head. Let me know if it did in yours too. But today we're going to talk about something very strange as I promised. It is not very strange, but it is still somehow uncanny. Does it ever happen like people around you and say something so beautiful, like so pure, so casually, and you just want to remember that forever? Especially after all the quotes and reels that we watch, and we constantly see people complimenting and saying things like so flawlessly in movies, even though we all know that it is scripted, but we somehow refer to that uh, actor in a way that, like, yeah, he said that. He said in such a way that it struck me and I remember it still. Does it not happen that in real life it's true? Because I'm sure like everybody has people in their life who somehow manage to say right things at the right time, and you just sit there in awe, like how does that person always manage to do that too? And it happens with me a lot personally because ever since I've been traveling, been meeting new people. I'm getting acquainted with so many different like and variant minds. So people say things to me which I remember forever, which I want to remember forever actually, yeah. But in the end, I forget. So what I do is the uncanny thing that I was talking about. What I do is I write about it. Not exactly about it. I would just keep that sentence, that phrase, or whatever they say to me in my mind for long enough for me to actually note it down on my notes app. That as simple as that. I do that. I don't often do that. Like I keep forgetting about things too. Like someone's told me something, I live in the moment, and I just cherish that deeply, and I somehow remember it for long. But whenever I get time and whenever I remember it for long enough to write it down, I do that. I will tell you the format. Like for example, in quotes, there is in notes, my notes app. I'll start from there. I have a note named other people, and in that I have bulleted points, and with each point I have like with anything that they say to me, and with their name like in the end of it. That is it. As simple as that. I keep it very simple and very readable. And every single, for example, like today, every time like today, I go through the notes app and I find accidentally leave my eye on it. I open it and I read it and I remember all of those people. I believe that this is like very important part of me because you cannot always remember people from memories that you made with them, because in a lot of occasions you don't really get to make good memories with people. Like you know them, you talk to them, and you are a part of their routine maybe, but you don't have an actual good memory to cling to. So things like these, like things they say that mean so much to you, these play an important role in my life for them. Because most of the people who I've mentioned in my notes app in this specific note, like all the other people, I don't talk to them anymore a lot. Like I meet them once in 5 to 6 months, yes, but I don't really talk to them anymore. So coming back to this feels like an everlasting feeling of nostalgia. It is that what makes me like connected with them, even though I am not really connected with them anymore. Do you get me? Like, do you feel me here? I would love to know someday, like, if any other of my audience, person in my audience, does the same thing. But for now, we're going to talk about some of those things that people have said to me that I would love to share with you all. And I would try to remember like what all was happening in that moment, on that day, on that minute or an hour. And I might give a little backstory to that. Yeah, I don't really see a lot of yays and hoorays. Yeah, this is good. That is how it is done. So let us begin with one. I need to pick one, which is really hard. Give me a second, okay? Okay, so I have found one, and this was a very funny moment for me, I remember. So it goes on like, I like shiny things, but I'd marry you with paper rings. And a lot of Taylor Swift fans would like, be so cringed by the way I said it because it is a song and I just blatantly just say that out loud. So in such a dull fashion. So I get it if you leave hate comments under it, but so this behind this, someone like a close friend of mine, she sent me a playlist and it was named this. And I am not a Taylor Swift fan, FYI. So I have never heard like other than Love Story and maybe the songs I heard at 14 or 15. Other than those, I have not heard her songs at all. So I had no idea that this was a lyric from someone's song. Let's just skip the Taylor Swift part. Someone's an artist song. So I was not aware of this at all, and I was in such awe of this sentence, of this poetic verse or whatever we call it. So I just wrote it down, and I hated that playlist. Not gonna lie, I'm not going to mention that name of the person who sent me, but I did not fancy that playlist a lot. But I still loved the name, so I still have it saved in my gallery on Spotify, and I still have this phrase saved in my codes. It always remember me. It always reminds me of that person somehow. Like how we used to share music on a regular basis. Like any new artist that I had found, I will share that with her. And it was like 2 to 3 years ago. So it is we still friends and we meet and they talk. But these core memories, these things that you do, these things will always change. Like for example, now we hang out maybe to watch a movie, to maybe go on a long drive. But a few years ago, we didn't do that. A lot of things that we did was just share music and talk about art and books. So no matter how strong the bond is with your bond is with someone, the things that you do to stay connected will always keep changing. And sometimes you do not like miss the person, you miss doing a specific something with that person or in general. You get me? Like yeah, you can connect with that with the person too, like you can miss that person as well, but most of the times it is the thing that you do that you miss. Like you used to paint together, you used to go out on dates together maybe, or even long walks, anything you could do, miss doing that with them. And so I would like to say that you could use this as a reminder to start doing all of these things that you miss doing with someone. Anything, it could be anything, just text them and make a plan. I sound really optimistic here, but I think, yeah, there's nothing bad about it, I think. Okay, so the next quote that I would pick is, oh, this is a really good one. I remember it in my head all day long. It is, all you do is exist miles away, and here I am making you immortal. Yeah, exactly. Like, even after this, after like 3 to 4 years, I still remember this. I still remember, like, in what context the person said that to me. And it is still insane. It was totally platonic, but I will always remember this. It is such a poetic verse, and it consists of such different elements. And I could dig deep into the quote precisely, but I would not like that to right now. But anyhow, this is the quote that I talk about with people. Like when I have to tell them, like for example, somebody asks me, what is the best thing that you have read in a long, long time that has stuck with you still? This is the kind of thing I mention. Like, how can someone write this? And maybe, I'm not sure, like, I did not ask her this, but maybe this was from a poem or another book. But because of that person, I now remember this phrase or this quote forever. I'll remember this forever. And someday, maybe I'm reading some book and I just might come across it once again, and it just might light everything that I felt in that moment over and over again within me, deep inside me. So I think that is a really good feeling. And I did, I mean, a lot of you would ask, like, you could have Googled it and you would have found the book and you could have read it and blah, blah, blah. But I did try that and I could not find it at all. There was no reference of this thing. Yeah, so I will repeat that again so that you can also write it down, maybe look for it. And if you find it, you can hit me up. So it goes like, all you do is exist miles away, and here I am making you immortal. Period. Nothing more on this. And yeah, this another one is really funny moment. This is from a guy I met like in the beginning of this year in 2023, like the day one, not the day one, like I met in 2022 on the last day of 2022. And it has a few months we hang out and we have been very chill, homey kind of friends. And he told me this, he texted me this one day, like we were talking about books and he did not directly say this to me. He said this to some other girl he was talking to. And then he sent me the screenshot like, bro, I was talking to this girl and I was talking about you, and this is what comes out of my mouth when I'm talking about you. And the text was, bro makes reading look lustful. I repeat, bro makes reading look lustful. Lustful. Literally, he used the word lustful. And it does sound like a very good compliment. Yeah. I was not able to speak about it for a long time because you can receive compliments from the opposite sex. You can receive romantic compliments, but compliments that really affect you, that really hit you, at least in my case, is the compliments from the people who are closest to you, especially the guys, because a lot of people have this tendency to put it on guys, like they don't share this bond, they don't talk about feelings, they don't compliment other men, but they do. Like the people around me, the guys around me, I'm so grateful to have them. They they make my life really easy. They make me really feel good about myself. There are days that they roast the fuck out of me, and I am in just like I don't really get a word to say. But on some occasions, on those rare occasions, they really make you feel loved, and it is so real. You can sense it in their voice, like this is real. I can never sense it romantically, I think, but in a very friendly way, and the homey bond that we share, I think that is something so pure. So I will remember this always and forever. And there are tons of things that my friends have said to me, the guys, the boys that I hang out with, my homie gang, that I would love to remember all of them all at once, but it's so hard to remember. But whenever I am with them, I remember every single thing that every single person has said to me, and in what context and what date. It is just insane the amount of energy it brings in me, and it brings in and around me when I am with them. So I think this will always remind me of how important those people have been in my life. It's just, I cannot say any more about them. It is truly insane. And we hop on to the next phrase. Oh yeah, I think this one was right in front of you guys, like the other podcaster, my fellow podcaster Geeta. She only said this a few podcasts back, few episodes back. I will still repeat it again just to get on record. If you want to love someone, love them in a way that they are loved by everyone. I repeat. If you are love sorry, if you want to love someone, love them in a way that they are loved by everyone. Yeah. And I have already talked about this in that episode, but you can check it out. It is like episode number 1, I think. Yeah. So I have already talked about this a lot with her, but I will still say it again out loud. That this is something that holds so true. I am talking like a Twitter person, so true as. But yeah, I have no words left for this because I relate to these phrases, these quotes in my life way too much. Like you just have to say one single phrase from any random book, and I will have a story to relate to it, and I will narrate you the whole story, and I will tell you about how it made me feel and how everybody around me was when that thing happened. I will always have a story to tell you guys. So when she mentioned this, I only thought of, like, for example, she only gave an example of the Song of Achilles, like how Patroclus made everybody fall in love with Achilles. And I have received compliments from herself, like Gita only, and a lot of other people that I made them fall in love with Shoda, the place I traveled to last month. So these things are, I think, so prominent in my life. They are like stars and constellations. Like these quotes and phrases might seem random to you. They might seem like stars to you. They are beautiful, but they are random. But if you try and connect the dots, you might find a constellation here. Like people close to my life who are actually might listen to this podcast, they might relate to this and they might connect the dots and they might form a constellation in this podcast. So I think it is very beautiful to remember what people say to you. It is not easy, it is not practical to always remember everything, but cling on to these for as long as you can. I have a lot more, but I think if I keep talking about each and every single phrase that people have, phrase or words or sentences or things that people have said to me, I think it will definitely take us a long, long time to get to the end of the list. And I am not comfortable sharing a lot of things on these list, but I would love to talk about it in person with someone. So I think, which I all obviously do in general too, when I meet people, a random stranger, I love to share things about it. I do not really get too deep into it. I maintain a fine line between what I actually feel and what is superficial over the top that people might relate to. I think which is really important in life. But I love to talk about these things and see, like, even when I'm really talking to a screen right now. I do not have a mic. I don't have my own image on. I don't have a guest with me. I don't have my co-host. But still, it is like 24 minutes of me talking about the most uncanny thing that you might have heard of. So this is me. I love talking about these things. And today's session was not really about books, but it was about how literature exists in and around us, and how we really need to get that essence into us. It's just the way how we see things, how we perceive things, and a lot of those people these days, I didn't want to call any names, but a lot of these people use that code like I don't want to be perceived. Like that cannot happen. People would perceive you even though you are trying not to be perceived. You might hide things about yourself, but people are still going to perceive you as someone else, maybe as a wrong thing, as a wrong image, but they would still perceive you. And it could sound like a bad thing to you right now, but it is the most beautiful thing that you could donate to the world of art, because you have a lot inside you, and there are a lot of words and stories that you could share that could change people's lives. Like these phrases I was talking about today, these have changed mine, at least at some point of my life. These all are somehow connected, and all of these have somehow played an important role in where I am today. So this is not a piece of advice. I'm not offering free advice. It is just, maybe I might come back to this podcast in a few years, a few months, where I actually need to hear this for myself. So I think this is for me. And on this note, I would like to end this podcast. And yeah, we could use some cheering right now. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is the kind of narcissism I think you people cannot tolerate. But I'll see you in the next episode, and hopefully Geeta would be here too. I would just stick to Geeta because I am not sure like whether she's Phoenix or Godfather. I'm still confused. Goodbye, good night, have a good one.